The Galactic Council chambers were massive, designed to hold representatives from 300 species. Today they were filled to capacity. Everyone wanted to witness what the media was calling the Trial of Terra. Hana sat in the witness section, wearing her formal cadet uniform. Beside her, Taman looked nervous. Behind them, Instructor Kale sat calm and ready. In the audience, she could see faces from dozens of worlds, all here to decide humanity's future in the galactic military. The question was simple but massive. Were humans too dangerous to integrate into interstellar military forces? Dean Morath stood at the prosecution table. He had resigned from the academy to lead this case personally. His silver skin glowed under the chamber lights as he addressed the council. Honored council members, Morath began. We face a decision that will impact galactic security for generations. Earth is a Class 13 death world, the highest danger classification possible. Humans evolved in conditions that would kill most species within days. The evidence shows they are incompatible with civilized military service. He projected statistics on the massive screens. Humans are 300% more likely to sustain injuries during training. Why? Because they push their bodies beyond safe limits. They have dangerously high risk tolerance, approaching situations that trained soldiers of other species would avoid. The screens showed footage from the pirate incident. Morath narrated over the images. Watch as these first-year cadets violate direct orders, engage 30 armed pirates, and use tactics that border on suicidal. This isn't courage. This is reckless behavior that endangers everyone around them. Witnesses testified. A Quillen medical officer described treating humans who had minor injuries that would hospitalize other species for weeks. A tactical instructor explained how humans ignored safety protocols during training exercises. A psychological evaluator presented data showing humans had unusual responses to stress and danger. They don't fear death the way other species do, the evaluator said. They compartmentalize trauma. They take risks that defy logic, and they form aggressive pack bonds that override individual self-preservation. Morath's closing argument was passionate. I don't question human courage or ability. I question their fitness for service alongside species who value life and safety. Every human success story comes with broken rules and dangerous precedents. They cannot be trusted to follow orders when it matters most, the council murmured. Many members nodded in agreement. Then it was the defense's turn. Instructor Kale approached the speaking platform. His scarred body showed decades of combat experience. When he spoke, his voice carried authority. Dean Morath presents humans as dangers to galactic security. I present a different view. I served with human Marines during the frontier conflicts. I watched them save lives, win impossible battles, and demonstrate loyalty that other species can barely comprehend. He projected different footage. A human medic carrying wounded soldiers through enemy fire. Human engineers keeping ships running with improvised repairs. Human commanders making split-second decisions that saved fleets. Yes, Earth is harsh, Kale said. But that harshness created something extraordinary. Humans don't just survive, they adapt. They don't just follow orders, they find better solutions. They don't fear death, but they value life more deeply than any species I've known. He called witnesses who told different stories. The elderly Valerian that Hana's team had saved spoke about watching 5 young cadets risk everything for strangers. A transport captain described how human crew members worked triple shifts to keep passengers safe during an emergency. A military historian presented evidence that mixed species units with human members had higher survival rates and mission success. The prosecution claims humans break rules, Kale said. But sometimes rules need breaking. They claim humans take dangerous risks. But calculated risks are the foundation of military strategy. They claim humans can't be trusted. But trust is earned through actions, and human actions consistently demonstrate reliability when it matters most. The council listened, but many still looked uncertain. Finally, Hana was called to testify. She walked to the witness platform, feeling 3,000 eyes watching her. The council head, an ancient being whose species she couldn't identify, gestured for her to speak. Cadet Kim, why did you join the academy knowing humans weren't welcome? Hana took a breath. She thought about her answer for a long time. When she spoke, her voice was steady and clear. Sir, Earth is difficult. Growing up there means facing danger every day. Predators that hunt in packs. Diseases that evolve faster than medicine. Weather that can destroy cities. We learn to survive before we learn to read. She paused, collecting her thoughts. But Earth also taught us something important. Survival isn't enough. When we see someone in danger, we can't just walk away. It's not in our nature. We evolved to protect our pack, our tribe, our community. That instinct doesn't disappear just because we leave Earth. The council head leaned forward. But that instinct led you to violate direct orders. Yes, sir. And I accept the consequences. But those hostages are alive because we disobeyed. Sometimes the right choice isn't the safe choice. Sometimes you have to put yourself in danger to protect others. That's not reckless. That's what the uniform means. The uniform means following orders. With respect, sir, I believe the uniform means something more. It means standing between danger and innocent people. Even when it's hard, even when it's scary. Earth taught us that. We survived by being brave when we had to be. Now we want to use that bravery to serve. Una was called next. The Valerian telepath approached the platform nervously. You scanned Cadet Kim's thoughts during the pirate engagement, the council head said. What did you find? Fear, Una answered honestly. She was terrified. They all were. Murmurs spread through the chamber. But, Una continued, underneath the fear was something else. Determination, focus, love even. She wasn't fighting because she enjoyed violence. She was fighting because she couldn't bear to watch innocent people die. I've scanned many minds across many species. I've never felt that combination of emotions. Fear and love existing together, driving action instead of preventing it. She turned to face the council directly. Humans process trauma differently than other species. They don't forget pain, but they don't let it paralyze them. They learn from it, grow from it, use it to become stronger. That's not a weakness. That's remarkable. The testimony continued for hours. More witnesses, more evidence, more arguments on both sides. Finally, the council deliberated. Hana and her team waited in a side chamber. No one spoke much. They were too nervous. After 4 hours, they were called back. The council head stood. This body has reached a decision. The question was whether humans are too dangerous for military service. We have heard compelling arguments on both sides. Hana held her breath. Our ruling is as follows. Humans may serve in galactic military forces, with conditions. All human cadets must complete additional psychological evaluations to ensure mental stability. They must serve in mixed species units to promote understanding and cultural exchange. And their training programs must be adapted to account for human physiology and psychology. Relief washed through the chamber. However, the council head continued, Earth's classification as a Class 13 Deathworld will stand. This is not a punishment. It is recognition that Earth produces individuals with unique capabilities. Capabilities that, when properly guided, can benefit all species. The council head looked directly at Hana. Cadet Kim, you raised your hand and told the truth when lying would have been easier. You demonstrated that humans can be trusted, even when trust is difficult. That took courage. Dean Morath stood abruptly and left the chamber without speaking. Outside, crowds of people waited. Some cheered, others protested. Media reporters surrounded Hana's team, asking questions. Instructor Kale guided them through the crowd. How do you feel? He asked Hana. Tired, she admitted. But glad it's over. It's not over. It's just beginning. You've opened a door for humanity. Now you have to prove the council made the right decision. That night, Hana stood at the observation window in her quarters. Earth was visible in the distance, that small blue world that had given her everything. Strength, determination, and the inability to walk away from people in need. Taman joined her. We did it. We survived, Hana corrected. Now comes the hard part, living up to what we promised. Think we can do it? Hana smiled. We're human. If Earth couldn't break us, nothing can. The stars stretched out before them, infinite and full of possibilities. Somewhere out there, other humans were probably doing impossible things, proving what Deathworlders could accomplish. And now, thanks to one cadet who raised her hand, the galaxy would finally see what humanity could offer. The alarm woke everyone at 300 hours, not the normal wake-up alarm, but the emergency signal that meant something had gone wrong. Hana dressed quickly and ran to the assembly point with hundreds of other cadets. Commander Velthar stood on the platform, his forearms moving rapidly. A pirate fleet has attacked Meridian Station, a civilian facility 2 hours from here. All upperclassmen are deploying immediately. First-year cadets will remain on standby. Dean Morath stepped forward. Commander, with respect, our upperclassmen are 6 hours away at a training exercise. By the time they return and deploy, it will be too late. What are you suggesting? Send the first years. Just for reconnaissance. They observe and report, nothing more. Velthar's mandibles clicked in disapproval. They're not ready for combat situations. They won't be in combat. Just observation from a safe distance. After a tense pause, Velthar agreed. Very well. Squad assignments will be posted within the hour. Hana found her name on the roster with her usual team. Their mission was simple. Scout the station's outer docking ring, report enemy positions, and retreat if threatened. They were explicitly ordered not to engage. The transport ship carried them through space. Hana checked her equipment. Light armor suit, basic scanner, emergency beacon. No weapons. They weren't there to fight. Minho piloted their shuttle toward the station. As they got closer, they could see the damage. Hull breaches, fires, and debris floating everywhere. A dozen pirate ships surrounded the station like predators around wounded prey. There, Yuna said, pointing. The outer docking ring. It looks abandoned. They docked carefully. The ring had minimal atmosphere and 0.4 gravity. Hana's team moved through the corridors, scanning for life signs and enemy positions. Then they heard the screams. Hana raised her hand, signaling everyone to stop. The sound came from around the corner. She moved quietly and looked through a broken window. 30 pirates filled the central chamber. They were a mix of species, all armed and dangerous. In the center, they had gathered 40 civilians, forcing them to kneel. One pirate, bigger than the others, was executing hostages one by one. This is what happens when you don't cooperate, the pirate captain shouted. Give us the access codes or they all die. Yuna pulled at Hana's arm. We need to report this and retreat. Those are our orders. Hana watched another civilian fall. She counted the pirates, noted their weapons and positions. Her mind calculated possibilities. If we retreat, they'll all be dead before help arrives, Hana said. We're 5 first-year cadets against 30 armed pirates, Taman said. It's suicide, maybe for other species. But we're human. Hana looked at each of them. I'm going in. You can come or stay. Minho checked his equipment. I'm in, Taman sighed. This is insane. But okay. Sora's voice shook. I'm an engineer, not a fighter. We need you, Hana said. Trust me. Yuna closed her eyes, her telepathy reaching out. I can feel their emotions. They're overconfident. They don't expect resistance. Good. Let's use that. Hana outlined a plan that was barely a plan at all. It relied on speed, surprise, and the fact that humans could do things other species thought impossible. Sora went first, accessing the lighting controls. Hana counted down silently. 3, 2, 1. The lights exploded into a strobe effect, flashing so fast it hurt to watch. Most species found it disorienting and painful. Humans who evolved to track fast-moving prey could handle it. Hana dropped through a ceiling panel. The low gravity let her launch across the room in a single jump. She hit the first pirate before he knew she was there, using his own weapon against the one beside him. Minho came from the opposite side, using a cargo loader he had hacked. The heavy machine became a battering ram, scattering pirates like bowling pins. Taman threw improvised smoke bombs made from chemical supplies. In the chaos of flashing lights and smoke, the pirates couldn't see clearly. Yuna coordinated everything. Her telepathy connected the team, letting them move together perfectly. She warned them about threats they couldn't see and guided their movements. The pirates tried to fight back, but they were confused and scattered. They expected a military assault with standard tactics. Instead, they got 5 cadets moving in ways that seemed impossible. Hana fought like her instructors on Earth had taught her. Fast, efficient, no wasted movement. She didn't try to kill, just disable. Each pirate she reached went down and stayed down. The pirate captain roared and charged at her. He was a Crolian, a species known for combat prowess. He outweighed Hana by 100 kilos and had claws that could tear through armor, but Hana had fought wolves on Earth. She understood predators. When the captain swung, she didn't block, she redirected. His own momentum worked against him. She struck pressure points, joints, anywhere that would hurt regardless of species. The fight lasted 20 seconds. The captain collapsed unconscious with multiple fractures. As suddenly as it started, it was over. 30 pirates were down. 43 hostages were safe. Hana's team stood in the center, breathing hard but alive. Taman laughed, a sound that was equal parts relief and disbelief. Did we just do that? We did, Minho confirmed. The hostages stared at them in shock. One elderly Valerian approached Hana. "You're just children." "We're cadets," Hana corrected. "And we couldn't let you die." By the time the upperclassmen arrived, Hana's team had secured all the pirates and stabilized the hostages. The medical team treated the cadets for minor injuries, but nothing serious. Commander Velthar surveyed the scene with all 4 eyes. "Cadet Kim, you violated direct orders." "Yes, sir." "You engaged in combat when explicitly told to retreat." "Yes, sir." "You put your entire team at risk." Hana met his gaze. "Sir, with respect, those hostages would be dead if we had followed orders. We had the ability to save them." "We did." Dean Morath appeared, his expression triumphant. "This is exactly what I warned about. Deathworlders can't follow orders. They're too aggressive, too dangerous. I'm calling for immediate expulsion and military tribunal." Instructor Kale stepped forward. "Actually, Dean, I recommended this team specifically for this mission." Everyone turned to stare at him. "You knew they'd disobey orders?" Velthar asked. "I gambled on it," Kale said. "I've seen humans in combat. When civilians are in danger, they can't help themselves. They have to act. It's not aggression. It's protective instinct. That doesn't justify violating orders." "No, but it saved 43 lives. And exposed something important about our training. We teach obedience above all else. But sometimes the right thing to do is disobey a bad order." The argument continued for hours. Meanwhile, the hostages contacted their families. News spread across the galaxy. Families of the rescued civilians petitioned the Galactic Council directly, demanding the cadets be honored, not punished. 3 days later, Hana stood before a formal review board. They questioned her decision, her tactics, her judgment. Finally, the head of the board spoke. "Cadet Kim, what you did was reckless and violated protocol. It also saved lives that would have been lost. The board has decided you will receive an official reprimand for disobeying orders." Hana nodded. Accepting the punishment, however, the board head continued. "You will also receive a commendation for bravery and tactical excellence. This will be noted in your record." It was the strangest outcome possible, punished and rewarded at the same time. That night, Hana's team gathered in their common room. They were exhausted, bruised, and confused about what happened. "We broke so many rules," Sora said. "We also proved something," Yuna replied. "Humans bring something unique to military service. Not just strength or speed, but willingness to make hard choices." Taman raised his drink. "To hard choices." They all echoed the toast. Outside their window, Earth hung in the distance, a blue marble against the stars. Somewhere on that planet, humans were surviving impossible odds just like they had for millions of years. And now, the galaxy was starting to understand why that mattered. 3 weeks into the term, Commander Velthar announced the first major test. Every cadet would face the Academy's combat simulation, a virtual reality scenario that had broken many promising careers. Teams of 5 would infiltrate an enemy facility and extract a hostage. The simulation adapted to each team's tactics, learning and countering their moves. The average completion rate was 40%. Most teams took 8 hours. Many never finished at all. Hana stood with her assigned team in the preparation room. Besides her and Taman, there was Yuna, the telepath, Sora, the Quillen engineer, and Minho, another human who was born on a transport ship. Minho had steady hands and quick reflexes from growing up in zero gravity. "We requested team changes," Sora said quietly. "They denied us. Dean Morath wants us to fail," Taman added. "Then we won't fail," Hana said simply. Yuna looked at her curiously. "You seem confident. I've seen humans do impossible things before. We're good at not giving up." The simulation loaded. They stood at the base of a cliff with the enemy facility perched on top. Sheer walls rose 300 meters. The only path was through a heavily guarded checkpoint at the front. "Standard approach," Sora suggested. "We disguise ourselves as maintenance workers." Hana studied the cliff face. She saw cracks and ledges, handholds that probably weren't meant to be used. "Or we climb." "That's impossible," Sora said. "The cliff was designed to be impassable." "For most species, maybe." Hana tested the rock. It felt solid under her fingers. "I can make it. I'll get to the top, create a distraction, and you come through the checkpoint while they're busy." "That's insane," Taman said. Then he grinned. "I love it." Hana started climbing. Her fingers found holds in the rock. The low gravity helped, making each movement easier than it would have been on Earth. She climbed fast, using techniques she learned in her childhood. When climbing was the best way to escape predators, the simulation AI noticed. Warning flags appeared in the control room outside. An instructor reviewed the data, confused. The cliff wasn't supposed to be climbable. Hana reached the top in 12 minutes. Below, her team moved toward the checkpoint. She picked up loose rocks and started throwing them at guard positions. The virtual enemies responded, leaving their posts to investigate. Taemin led the team through the checkpoint. They moved quick and quiet. Yuna used her telepathy to sense guard positions and warned them. Sora hacked the security door. Minho covered their backs with a training weapon. Inside the facility, they hit the first major problem. The hostage was locked behind a barrier that required 3 separate security codes. Normal team spent hours searching for the codes. Taemin looked at the barrier, then at Sora. Can you break it? Not with standard tools. What about non-standard tools? Taemin started gathering supplies from a medical station. Bandages, antiseptic, power cells from a cleaning robot. He worked fast, his hands moving with practiced ease. What are you making? Sora asked. Something that shouldn't work but probably will. 5 minutes later, Taemin had built a small explosive device from medical supplies. It wasn't elegant or safe, but when it detonated, the barrier cracked. More warning flags appeared in the control room. The AI couldn't understand how cadets were making explosives from medical equipment. Inside the cell, the hostage was panicking. The AI construct was programmed to be difficult, scared, and uncooperative. It screamed and fought when they tried to move it. Yuna knelt beside the construct. Listen to me. I know you're scared, but we're here to save you. If you trust us, we all get out alive. She spoke calmly, using human psychological techniques she had learned from studying Earth cultures. The construct's programming didn't know how to respond. It slowly nodded and followed. Getting out was harder than getting in. Alarms blared. Virtual enemies swarmed from every direction. The team ran through corridors that twisted and turned. Dead end, Sora said, staring at a wall. Minho looked up. Not if we go through the ceiling. They blasted through to the level above, then the level after that. The simulation hadn't expected vertical movement. They emerged in a hangar where a damaged shuttle sat. That's not going to fly, Taemin said, looking at the broken engines. It doesn't need to fly well, Minho replied. Just enough to get us outside. He climbed into the pilot seat and started working. The shuttle shuddered, sparked, and lifted off the ground. Minho flew it through the hangar doors, then dropped into a canyon the simulation had placed as an obstacle. The walls were narrow. Safety protocols should have prevented anyone from flying through. Minho ignored the warnings and threaded the shuttle between rocks at speeds that made everyone sick. They crashed outside the facility. Everyone survived. The hostage was secure. The timer showed 47 minutes. The simulation ended. They removed their VR helmets and stood in the quiet preparation room. Commander Velthar entered with a data pad. His expression was unreadable. Your team completed the simulation in 47 minutes. That's a new record. Thank you, sir, Hana said. However, Velthar continued, you triggered 17 impossible action flags. The AI believes you cheated. We didn't cheat, sir. I know. I watched the whole thing. Velthar's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. The simulation is designed for standard military tactics. You used human tactics, and what's the difference? Taemin asked. Standard tactics follow rules. Human tactics make new rules. Velthar looked at each of them. The simulation is being suspended for reprogramming. Until then, you're being investigated. The investigation took 3 days. Officers reviewed every second of the simulation. They interviewed the team separately, looking for signs of cheating or hacking. Dean Morath was certain he had found his evidence. He called a formal review with the Academy Board. They climbed an unclimbable wall, Morath said. They made explosives from medical supplies. They flew through a canyon that violates all safety protocols. This isn't skill. This is recklessness. Instructor Kale stood to defend them. They identified solutions the simulation didn't anticipate. That's not recklessness. That's tactical innovation. They broke the simulation. No, Velthar interrupted. They exposed a weakness in our training. We teach cadets to follow standard procedures, but real combat doesn't follow procedures. The humans taught us that. The board reviewed the evidence. After 2 hours of debate, they reached a decision. The team would not be punished. Instead, their simulation would be studied and used to improve the Academy's training. Morath was furious. He stormed out of the room without speaking. That evening, something strange happened. Cadets started approaching Hana's team, not to complain or express fear, but to ask questions. How did you think of climbing the wall? Can you teach me that explosive technique? What made you decide to fly through the canyon? A group of upperclassmen invited the team to their common room. They wanted to learn human tactics. Word had spread that the first-year humans had done something unprecedented. Yuna sat beside Hana. They're not afraid anymore. Some still are, Hana replied, but more are curious. That's progress. Taemin joined them with a message on his datapad. We're being reassigned to advanced training. Apparently, breaking the simulation comes with rewards. Minho laughed. We didn't break it. We just showed it something new. Hana smiled. For the first time since arriving at the academy, she felt like maybe they belonged. Not because they were the same as everyone else, but because their differences had value. Sora approached nervously. I wanted to say thank you. I've been at this academy for 3 weeks and never felt useful. Working with you, I learned I can be braver than I thought. You were always brave, Hana said. You just needed the right team. That night, Hana's 30-day trial period officially ended. Commander Velthar sent her a message. Your probation is complete. Welcome to the Celestial Naval Academy, Cadet Kim. She had proven she could stay. Now she had to prove she could make a difference. The orientation hall stretched wider than any stadium on Earth. 3,000 cadets filled the seats, representing 200 different species from across the galaxy. Some had scales, others had fur, and many had forms that didn't fit into any category humans had words for. Among them sat Hana Kim, her small frame tucked into a seat designed for someone twice her size. Commander Velthar stood on the central platform, his insectoid body gleaming under the bright lights. His forearms moved as he spoke, emphasizing his points. The translation device in Hana's ear turned his clicking sounds into words she could understand. Welcome to the Celestial Naval Academy, Velthar said. His compound eyes swept across the crowd. You are the best of your worlds. You passed impossible tests. You beat thousands of other candidates. But understand this, not everyone belongs here. The hall went quiet. Hana leaned forward slightly. Our academy has one absolute rule, the commander continued. No cadets from Class 12 Deathworlds or higher. These planets are too dangerous. Anyone who survives there develops abilities that could harm other students. We cannot risk the safety of the majority for the curiosity of a few. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Next to Hana, Taemin Park shifted in his seat. He was human too, but he grew up on a mining colony orbiting a gas giant. He had never set foot on Earth. He whispered to Hana, Good thing we're from stations, right? Hana didn't answer. Her jaw tightened. Commander Velthar projected a hologram above the platform. It showed a list of planets marked in red. These are Deathworlds. Gravity 3 times standard. Predators that hunt in packs. Diseases that evolve daily. Temperatures that would kill most species in minutes. If you are from any of these worlds and lied on your application, you will be expelled and prosecuted. The hologram flickered. A new planet appeared at the top of the list. The label read, Earth, Class 13 Deathworld. The classification date was 3 weeks ago. Hana felt her stomach drop. When she applied 6 months ago, Earth was listed as Class 7. Difficult but acceptable. Now it was Class 13, the highest danger rating. She looked at Taemin, whose face had gone pale. Does anyone have questions about this policy? Velthar asked. Hana's hand moved before her brain caught up. She raised it slowly. The commander's eyes focused on her. Yes, cadet? She stood. At full height, she barely reached the shoulder of the Quillen student in front of her. Sir, what if someone is already here from a death world? Velthar's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. That would be impossible. Our screening process is thorough. But what if the planet was reclassified after they applied? The clicking stopped. Explain. Hana took a breath. I'm from Earth, sir. When I submitted my application, it was Class 7. Last month it became Class 13, I didn't lie. The classification changed. The hall erupted. Students jumped from their seats. Some species backed away from Hana. Others moved closer, curiosity overcoming fear. A Saurian cadet named Grix stood and pointed at her with a clawed hand. A Class 13 Deathworlder? Here she could kill us. I'm not going to kill anyone, Hana said. but her voice was lost in the noise. Commander Velthar raised all four arms. Silence! The room obeyed. He turned to Hana. Are there other humans in this intake? Taman stood slowly. I'm human, sir. But I'm from Terra Station. I've never been to Earth. Sit down, Cadet Park, you're not the problem. Velthar's attention stayed on Hana. Cadet Kim, you will come with me. Now. The walk to the administration building felt endless. Other cadets stared as Hana passed. Some whispered. Others simply moved out of her way. Taman followed a few steps behind, though no one had told him to come. Inside the dean's office, Morath waited. He was a Valerian, tall and thin with silver skin that seemed to glow. He looked at Hana the way someone might look at a bomb. This is unacceptable, Morath said. Commander, she must be expelled immediately. The cadet didn't break any rules, Velthar replied. She's a safety risk. Based on what evidence? Morath gestured at a screen. Earth has gravity 1.8 times standard. Predators that can tear through steel. Diseases that have killed billions. Humans evolved to survive all of that. Do you know what her bone density is? What her immune system can handle? She could sneeze and give the entire academy a plague. Hana wanted to argue, but she knew it wouldn't help. She stood at attention and waited. The door opened. An older officer entered, his body covered in scars. Instructor Kale was a Draxian, a species known for combat skill. He nodded to Velthar, then looked at Hana with interest. I heard we have a Deathworlder, Kale said. She's being expelled, Morath snapped. For what violation? For being dangerous. Kale smiled, which looked frightening on his reptilian face. Dean Morath, I served with human Marines during the frontier conflicts. I watched a human medic carry 3 wounded soldiers through enemy fire for 6 hours. I saw a human engineer fix a reactor with tools made from scrap metal. Dangerous? Yes, but also the most loyal, creative, and determined beings I've ever met. Morath crossed his arms. That's not relevant. It's completely relevant. Kyle turned to Commander Velthar. Give her 1 month. If Cadet Kim causes any problems, she leaves. But if she completes the first month without incident, she stays. Velthar considered this. Cadet Kim, do you accept these terms? Yes, sir. Then you have 30 days. Instructor Kale will supervise you personally. 1 mistake and you're gone. Understood? Understood, sir. As Hana left the office, Taman caught up with her. That was insane, he said. You could have just kept quiet. They would have found out eventually, Hana replied. Maybe. But now everyone thinks you're a monster. Hana stopped walking. She looked at Taman with tired eyes. I'm not a monster. I'm just a human who wants to serve. If they can't see the difference, that's their problem. That night, Hana lay in her bunk and stared at the ceiling. The dormitory was designed for 0.6 gravity, which felt strange. Everything seemed too light, too fragile. She worried about breaking something by accident. Through the thin walls, she heard other cadets talking. Did you see the human? They say she could crush steel with her bare hands. I heard Earth has storms that can destroy cities. We should request different quarters. Hana closed her eyes. 30 days. She just had to make it 30 days without proving them right, without showing them how different she really was. In the darkness, she smiled slightly. They had no idea what humans were really capable of, and if she played this right, maybe that was a good thing. Tomorrow, the real test would begin. The alarm sounded at 600 hours. Hana woke instantly. A habit from Earth where sleeping too deeply could be dangerous. Around her, other cadets groaned and moved slowly. She swung out of bed and landed on her feet with barely a sound. The cadet across from her, a Quillan named Sora, flinched. How do you move so fast? Sorry, Hana said. She tried to move more slowly as she got dressed, but everything felt wrong. The uniform was too light. The boots felt like slippers. Even the air seemed thin. Breakfast was awkward. Hana sat with Taman at a table near the back. Other cadets gave them space. A lot of space. The nearest occupied table was 10 meters away. This is going to be a long month, Taman muttered. Hana picked up what looked like a protein bar. She took a bite. The taste hit her immediately, bitter and sharp. She chewed slowly, swallowed, and reached for water. Are you okay? Taman asked. Yeah, tastes burnt. A Krillian cadet at the next table over dropped his tray. Did she just eat that? Within seconds, 3 cadets rushed over. One of them, wearing a medical badge, scanned Hana with a handheld device. His face went through several colors. That was a Krillian combat ration, the medic said. Undiluted. It's toxic to most species. Hana blinked. Oh, sorry, I thought it was food. It is food. For Krillians. After it's dissolved in liquid. The concentration should have killed you. I feel fine. Hana looked at the scanner. What does it say? The medic showed her the screen. Your immune system is already neutralizing the toxins. I've never seen anything like this. Word spread fast. By lunch, everyone knew the human had eaten poison and lived. Some cadets looked at Hana with fear, others with respect, most with confusion. The afternoon brought physical assessments. All cadets had to complete a standard fitness test. Hana stood in line watching others struggle with exercises that seemed simple to her. Cadet Kim, called the testing officer. You're next. The first test was grip strength. Hana wrapped her hand around the device and squeezed. A crack echoed through the gym. The device split in half. Equipment failure, the officer said, making a note. Use the backup unit. The backup unit broke too. The officer stared at Hana. How much can you grip? I don't know, sir. I've never found my limit. They moved to pull-ups. The bar was rated for 200 kilos. Hana jumped up and started. 1, 2, 3. At 20, other cadets stopped to watch. At 50, the bar began to bend. At 73, it snapped. Hana dropped to the ground, embarrassed. I can pay for the equipment, sir. That won't be necessary. The officer made more notes. Move to the endurance run. The course was 5 kilometers around the station's outer ring. Standard completion time was 30 minutes. Hana started at an easy jog. The 0.6 gravity made her feel like she was bouncing. Each step carried her further than expected. She crossed the finish line in 8 minutes. The timer operator checked his equipment twice. This has to be broken. Instructor Kale appeared beside him. It's not broken. She's just that fast. That evening, Kale called Hana to his office. She entered nervously, unsure if she was in trouble. Sit, Kale said. He poured 2 cups of something that smelled like tea. You're making quite an impression. I'm trying not to, sir, I know. That's the problem. Kale slid a cup toward her. You're holding back, but you're still breaking things. We need to teach you control. Control, sir? Throttling down. Moving like them, not like you. Kale sipped his drink. When I worked with human Marines, the first thing they learned was how to seem less threatening. Small movements, gentle grips, slow reactions. You need to do the same, Hana understood. Make myself smaller. Make yourself fit in. Just until they see you're not a threat. For the next week, Hana practiced. She learned to grab things gently, to walk instead of run, to wait before reacting. It felt like wearing a costume that didn't fit right, but she managed. Then came the incident in the dormitory. Hana was studying when Grix and 3 other Saurian cadets entered. They were big, each one over 2 meters tall with scaled skin and sharp claws. Grix had been vocal about his dislike of humans. Deathworlder, Grix said. You don't belong here, Hana stood slowly. I have as much right to be here as you. You're dangerous. Everyone says so. I haven't hurt anyone. Grix stepped closer. You broke our equipment. You poisoned yourself and didn't die. You're a freak. Other cadets gathered at doorways watching. No one intervened. Please leave, Hana said quietly. Grix grabbed her arm. His claws dug into her sleeve. Make me. The reaction was instinctive. Hana's hand moved, breaking his grip with a simple twist. The technique was basic self-defense, something any human learned. But Grix wasn't human. His wrist bones weren't designed for that kind of pressure. The crack was loud. Grix roared and stumbled back. His friends caught him. The medical team arrived minutes later. Security took Hana to Commander Veltar's office. Dean Morath was already there, looking satisfied. Assault, Morath said. She attacked another cadet. This is grounds for immediate expulsion. Is that true, Cadet Kim? Veltar asked. He grabbed me, sir. I defended myself. She broke his wrist. He grabbed me with claws. I used minimal force. Velthar reviewed the security footage. It showed everything clearly. Grix approaching aggressively, grabbing Hana, her simple defensive move. The commander's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. This was self-defense, Velthar ruled. Cadet Grix initiated physical contact. Cadet Kim responded appropriately. Appropriately? Morath's voice rose. She injured him. He injured himself by attacking someone trained in self-defense. The matter is closed. Velthar dismissed them. In the hallway, Instructor Kyle waited. Walk with me, Cadet. They walked in silence for a while. Finally, Kale spoke. You did the right thing. But now they're more scared. What should I have done? Exactly what you did. Sometimes fear is necessary. They need to understand that you can defend yourself, but you choose not to attack. That's the difference between dangerous and trustworthy. Back in the dormitory, the atmosphere had changed. Cadets still kept their distance, but there was something different in their eyes. Not quite respect, but maybe the beginning of understanding. Yuna, the Valerian telepath, approached Hana cautiously. Can I ask you something? Sure. When Grix grabbed you, I felt your emotions. You weren't angry. You were calm. Why? Hana thought about it. Because anger makes you stupid. My grandmother taught me that. If you're going to fight, fight smart, not mad. Yuna's expression was unreadable. You're very different from what I expected. What did you expect? A monster, I think. But you're not. You're just careful. That night, Hana wrote a message to her family on Earth. She told them about the academy, about the challenges, about learning to be gentle in a place that wasn't built for her kind. She didn't mention the fear in other cadets' eyes or the way they avoided her. She wrote, I'm learning that being strong isn't about showing everyone what you can do. It's about knowing what you can do and choosing not to. That's harder than any test they could give me. 2 weeks down. 2 weeks to go.